Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is my first chairing of a meeting as the chair of this board. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. And first of all, I'd like somebody to make a motion to adopt the agenda. I have a motion, please. Thank you, Avatar. Second. Thank you, Ms. Cloak. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Okay. The first order of business is B1, to adopt the agenda. We just did that. Second is to adopt the minutes of the October 26, 2022 meeting. Can I please have a motion to adopt? Thank you, Ms.
Sorry, this is not a motion to adopt. I'd like to go back to the oath that's on the agenda.
Sure. Thank you.
Sure. I have a concern regarding the oath.
Okay.
Sorry, my hand here. So, Chair Locke, you publicly state that you're against SPS in the transition and the work of this board. May I ask how you plan to fulfill your duties as chair, recognizing that you have signed an oath that states you'll be honest and impartial to perform your duties as chair?
Well, I think fair question. And as you know, this is a predicament that can be for anybody who sits in the chair between being wearing the two hats, whether we're a mayor or we're the chair of the board. Certainly, that is something I've contemplated a lot. But I think that the Act understands that there will be tension, and I do understand my own responsibility to declare conflict when I believe my conflict is in that place.
Okay, I do disagree with you on that, and I would like that documented in the minutes, please, Marion. Thank you.
Ms. Broussard?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Can I just have you go back to item A of the agenda? And can you please recognize the territories that we're working from today?
Yes, I apologize for that. Thank you for that. Thank you. I do apologize. I would most sincerely do apologize, but I do recognize that we are on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, and certainly in Surrey it is the Kwantlen, Katzie, and Semiahmoo First Nations people that we are so grateful to be on their land and live, work, and play in this land. So thank you, and thank you for raising that. Okay. Anybody else, or can we move forward? Okay. Okay, B2. B2 is the adoption of the minutes. And can I have somebody move adoption of the minutes, please? Thank you, Ms. Modell. Thank you, Ms. Manav. Sorry if I've said anybody's name wrong. I'll try and learn it. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Thank you. C is a delegation that is coming on. Are they online yet, or are they? There we go. Mr. Wayne Rideout, the ADM for the Ministry of the Solicitor General, and Mr. Jamie Lip, the Executive Director.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me okay? Great.
Yes,
nice to see you all. Welcome. Mayor Locke, on behalf of the Government of British Columbia and the Minister of Public Safety, please let me just welcome you to your duties as chair of the Surrey Police Board. Nice to see all the board members again. We've participated in some of your board sessions over the course of last year, and thank you for allowing us to be back. I also would like to acknowledge that I'm joining you today from the traditional territories of the Katzie, Kwantlen, Samiamu, and other Coast Salish peoples, where I feel fortunate to live, work, and enjoy, and whose historical relationship with the land continues today. And thank you for having myself and my executive director, Jamie Lip, who many of you know, to the meeting and for an opportunity to speak to you today. Let me just begin by saying in my 2 years in this role of Assistant Deputy Minister and Director of Police Services, I've come to really appreciate the importance and value of police board governance. And I think that it plays an extremely important role in public safety across the province in those jurisdictions where boards are support municipalities that have municipal independent police departments. And I think it forms an incredible important function in both public confidence, public safety, and the administration of public confidence in our community. So I just want to encourage you with that ideal, because I really have come to learn. As many of you may know, I come from a 35-year career in the RCMP prior to my time with the public service, and actually much of that in the city of Surrey. But I do believe, and I've come to learn, that the value of a board and its role, and I really do respect the work that you do. Many of you volunteering your own time for that function. So thank you for your work and your continued work. It's again a pleasure to be here with you today and just go over a few points from the Ministry of Public Safety's perspective. As you all know, well, the Surrey City Council has made a municipal decision to reverse the current policing transition underway and to retain the RCMP as the police agency of jurisdiction. Respecting municipal authorities, the minister has indicated that he will give consideration to the city's policing transition reversal plan. The minister wrote Mayor Locke on November 18th, clarifying expectations for the city's plan and requesting a submission of the plan by December 15th, 2022. Concurrently, as the Director of Police Services, I have written the RCMP requesting a detailed restaffing plan by December 22nd, 2022. The restaffing plan must take into consideration current vacancy issues across all RCMP business lines and must have clear measures to ensure that these are not further, that vacancies across all three business lines are not further exacerbated. It's my expectation that the report I receive from the RCMP will be detailed and be able to be validated. I've also written to the SPS seeking a report and an update on the current status towards becoming POJ and updated timelines in light of current circumstances. A report from the SPS is expected by December 22nd, 2022. Analysis of the city's transition reversal plan, the RCMP's restaffing plan, the SPS report, and update of POJ readiness, along with the recommendations and advice from the Director of Police Services and the Director of Police Services team, will ultimately support the minister in making his decision. Certainly on this matter on this matter of critical importance, a decision must be well informed and must be timely. To this end, the minister has shared his view that he would like to be in a position to communicate a ministerial decision as soon as possible early in the new year. Public and officer safety must remain the top priorities at this critical time. Surrey police officers make up a significant number, about 25% of the overall Surrey RCMP municipal policing unit. And given the type of deployments that have occurred in the transition so far, Surrey Police Services officers make up even a larger percentage of officers carrying out frontline policing duties. Surrey Police Service officers will continue to be required no matter what the ultimate outcome is. I feel that it is important to acknowledge at this time that until the ministerial decision is made and communicated, some of the work that has been prioritized to this point has changed focus. In the near term, the focus will be on preparing the necessary reports to support a ministerial decision, as well as on defined November and January SPS officer cohorts. Province expects that the November cohort deployed earlier this week, as well as the 20 or so other officers identified for January cohort, will be required. As many of you know, I will be leaving the public service on December 15th, 2022. Executive Director Jamie Lipp will have the delegated authority to continue on in the role and designate of the Office of the Director of Police Services for the purpose of overseeing and superintending the transition until a new Director of Police Services is identified and appointed. We look forward to receiving the various reports and plans, and we do emphasize that we expect those plans to be detailed. We will not presuppose an outcome, and it is important that we be prepared for all outcomes that result from a decision. Thank you for including your agenda today, and we look forward to receiving your reports and happy to take any questions you may have.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Rideout. Appreciate your presentation today. Also wish you well in your new role. Maybe that's just retiring, but who knows? We never know anymore. I wonder if anybody has any comments or questions for Mr. Rideout. Ms. Broussard?
Thanks, Madam Chair, and thanks, ADM Rideout, for coming and speaking to us and with us today. We've heard bits and pieces of information throughout the media and through some correspondence from the city and from the SPS, but it was great that you really took the time to let us know where we're at with the SPS. And thank you for the support you've given us over the past year and a half or two. It seems like we spoke regularly, and I really appreciate your comments around how much you value the board and the role that we have. I wish you great success in your retirement or whatever you do in the near future. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Johal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To Mr. Rideout, thank you for attending today. You alluded to this in your comments. Obviously, time is of the essence. Obviously, with the budget requirements according to the Police Act, it's imperative that we make a very timely decision in terms of which direction we're going to go. As you know, our initial budget has to be submitted by November 30th, in which it was submitted. Obviously, at this point in time, not knowing what's going to transpire, it was submitted on the basis of SPS being a going concern. If that budget is going to be revised based on the outcome of that decision, a revised budget, provisional budget, has to be submitted to the city by March 1st. So obviously we will need some time to develop those budgets, and we wait for your outcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. If I could just maybe comment on the budget challenges, and you know, our team has been part of a trilateral committee that has moved through various steps and stages in this process. So we're alive to the many competing challenges, and I think it's incumbent on us all to recognize that this is really uncharted, unprecedented circumstances that we find ourselves in, and that I think we all. And I would appreciate all of you just being patient to the degree you can, recognizing there are tight timings. We appreciate those as well. But I think we all have to be sensitive to the various pressures that both the city faces, the SPS face, the RCMP face, and the minister faces. And I think we simply have to recognize that we're in a time window that is unprecedented, and you are the police board of a department that is in a very unusual set of circumstances and window in time, and we have to simply be patient. And I think, If we are patient, we will get through the next several weeks. And we acknowledge the need to set a clear understanding of where you're heading in the future. So patience is the word for me, and a little tolerance for everybody's position as we move forward. Public safety, public confidence in policing is paramount.
Is there anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Modell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Rideout, just want to thank you on behalf of the board for your help, your guidance, etc., and wish you all the very best. And my question is along where we are currently. In your view, do you think there are enough resources at the front line for Surrey and at this point in time currently? Thank you.
I think that my branch monitors adequate and effective levels of policing across the province. The transition has created an ebb and flow, but as of today, I am confident in the information I have in front of me that you are at adequate and effective levels of policing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rideout. Is there anyone else that has a question? No? Okay. Good to see you, Mr. Lip, as well. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to comment on today, but we'd love to hear from you as well.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Great to see everyone. Nothing particular to add today, and very pleased to be here with you and to continue to serve as a resource to the board going forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you both, and certainly thank you for all the work you've done for the board and with the board, Mr. Rideout, and for public safety in our city. And I love the comments you make, and you're right. At the end of the day, we all do want the same thing, and that is good public safety for our residents in the city of Surrey. So, thank you both. The next issue on the agenda, members, is the D1, letter from the City of Surrey to the Surrey Police Board. It is, I assume it's just for acceptance. I understand it is now up on the website as well. Is that correct, Ms. Granum?
Yes, Madam Chair, it was posted with the public agenda.
Thank you. Do we need a motion? Oh, sorry. Mr. Caruana, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to confirm that my understanding is that a response letter was sent on November 23rd to the letter you referenced, indicating that because of the breadth of the information required and the complexity, that more time would be required to gather the information and respond. And I just wanted to make that clear for the record. Thank you.
Ms. Granum, do you want to respond to that?
I can confirm Director Caruana is correct. There was a letter sent to the city manager just advising him that the board required more time due to the complexity of the request.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on. Now the Chief Constable report.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Sorry. Oh, I apologize.
Thank you.
Sard.
Thank you. Just for clarity for my purposes. So this letter, I understand, is that you as chair had asked to put it on the agenda and that it was sent to us on November 15th and we responded November 23rd. Was it just for information, or was there something else that you wanted to deal with today?
With the letter, I know it's just done for acceptance. Don't put letters, just put the letter out onto the public face.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Chief Constable report. So first off, Chief Lipinski, if you would like to start hiring and diversity update.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Chair. I've got 3 slides, and I'll take the next 3 reports as a group: the hiring and diversity, the community policing vision, and community engagement. I would ask that my first slide go up, and I'll explain each slide, and then if there's any questions, I'll pause, and then I'll move on to the next slide. So, next slide, please. This slide just articulates where we are at the present time. I think it's important to bring the board up to speed of the exact numbers that we have in order to get clarity. 315 officers, of course, and out of those 315, as of today, we have 188 on the front line. And of course, we have civilian staff that support the 315 with a total of 375 employees. When I speak about the sworn officers, we now have 26 police agencies from across Canada represented. And we have approximately 60% municipal officers and 40% RCMP. And to break it down a little bit further, we have 19% are female, and 50% of our sworn officers are culturally diverse. And just a final comment on this, 36 languages are spoken fluently. So I'll stop there just as a snapshot pertaining to our present state. If there's anybody that has any questions or comments, feel free. Okay, seeing none, if I could have a next slide to move into the next report. Oh,
excuse me, I think
Director Cloak.
Thanks, Chief. I just wanted to send out a huge congratulations with the hiring and diversity update. I understand that yesterday was the anniversary for first year anniversary for Boots on the Ground. You and your team have been doing a fabulous job, and super proud of the team. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Appreciate them. Okay, slide number 2 is pertaining to the second report. And as you know, we've developed the strategic plan, and looking at the 3 pillars, organizational development, employee development, and community policing model, I can tell you that we are on track with all 3 of those. I picked out a couple of bullets, subtopics, the human resource plan that we have employed working with the 3 levels of government. And as was indicated, every second month, we put out another cohort. We have an IT plan. We're well on our way. It's fair to say that we're halfway, 50% plus as far as developing that plan and having the infrastructure put in place. On the side of employee development, there's a couple of comments I'm going to make here. First of all, I get a lot of questions about our training. And we have 6 weeks of training before the members are deployed. So that means that we have to hire our people almost 2 months before they are deployed. The reason we have that much training is, as indicated, with 26 different agencies represented, they come from different policy backgrounds and different types of training, different levels of training, and we have to make sure that they meet the provincial standards here in BC. And when we're talking about recruiting, I have to say that we are very fortunate that we have no problem recruiting. There's been much written about the challenges of recruiting in across Canada. And fortunately for us, there's two streams that we have. One is the experienced officers and one is the recruits that go to the JI. And in each category, we've had, since the inception of SPS, we've had over 1,000 applications in each. And you could see that with 1,000 applications going to the recruit side to the JIBC, there's great competition. So we're very fortunate that way. Wellness and resiliency, we built this from the ground up, and a lot of it is embedded in the collective agreement that you are well aware of. Everything from peer support, professional psychological services, and we spend a lot of time and effort and communication in this realm, and I believe it is paying off. Overall, we have 2%, about 2% of soft vacancies, and that means those that are injured or ill. And in the policing world, that is very, very good. And I'm proud of that and the team that put that together. Community policing model, we are finishing up on the Indigenous strategy and also the youth strategy. I will be presenting those probably in January. And on the youth strategy, there's a heavy emphasis on diverting from gangs. That includes education, prevention, of course, intervention, and finally, enforcement. So that plan is coming along very well. Any questions on this slide here or comments, please?
Mr. Caruana?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, could you elaborate a bit more on what you've done on the Indigenous strategy, please?
Yes, we put together a 3-person team, and the first step we did was the consultation piece. The second step we did is do a literature review. This includes all kinds of commissions and Senate hearings, etc., to look at the recommendations of all those reports, I'll say over the last 5 years. And then with the expertise of the individuals that we have presently in the SPS, we started drafting a plan of how it all fit together. We are focusing on the youth there as well. And we have in mind a number of special programs that will be quite unique to BC that we learned about from other jurisdictions. And we continue to engage in that community and also the Métis community. And I think we're building some very, very strong bridges.
Director Medell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, the Director Caruana asked one of my questions, but the other question was with the Métis factor, Chief, has connections been done with them personally because their headquarters are in Surrey? Thank you.
Yes, very good question. Thank you for that. Myself and Deputy Lesage and our team have met with them twice now. And we've certainly exchanged ideas, and what I mean by ideas is our strategic directions, and it has been very, very helpful.
Director Broussard?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the Chief, thanks for your reports, Chief. And I'm really interested in the youth strategy, and specifically, I was following up or reading about an event that a number of South Asian SPS members, I think led by Sergeant Kosa, held at one of the Surrey Gurdwaras this weekend, and really it was a positive parenting workshop where they were sharing tips on parent-child relationships and educating the community members, whether it was the parents, the grandparents, and the siblings. And it looked like it was an amazing event. And I'm just wondering if this was unique to the South Asian community, or is it going to be used in other communities, diverse communities in our city?
First of all, the South Asian community, there is a lot of interest to talk about the youth, family, talk about education, prevention, intervention. And so, yes, Sergeant Jayakosa led the team that went to that Gurdwara, and we go there by invite, and I understand it was very, very successful. And what we plan to do as we construct a framework on some of these workshops is, in fact, to expand to other cultural groups. And it's just a matter of resources, and it's a matter of time, of course. But given the success of this one, we do plan to move it forward and reach out to others. And I think that's in the best interest of the community and our youth and the citizens of Surrey.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I have one more slide there, Madam Chair, if I may. It really this is the last slide. It's the segues very nicely into this. We keep a lot of metrics, or we're starting to do, looking at monitoring, measuring what we do. And suffice to say, when you're talking about community engagement, so far this year, we've had just over 600 engagements, and these can be from our frontline members and stopping in on the soccer pitch and saying hello to some youth, to more formal engagements such as workshops, etc. So very pleased with this. It has a lot to do with the community engagement plan, which you may recall that we had a survey back in 2021. We did interviews and focus groups, and the purpose there was to determine what they would expect from the Surrey Police Service. And given all that direction, you'll recall we put a report together, and so we are fulfilling that commitment from that plan. I'll stop there, and if there's any questions or comments, feel free.
Director Center.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just going to your report, Chief. You have a graph, also the engagement by target audience, and I note that we have 31% with youth. And I know we've talked about a few different engagement opportunities, but could you elaborate a little bit more on what those engagement opportunities have looked like with youth?
Yes, what we're looking at is compiling a list of whether it's events, whether it's groups, whether it's nonprofits that work with youth. And then we're looking to put a plan together that we will present to you probably in January of targeting why we're targeting certain areas. And what I mean by that is we can't be all places at all times. And so our particular interest is prevention and education, but also looking at and talking to youth that may be at risk and helping them out. So more to come on that in January.
Thank you. And I just had one more question. With regard to this engagement, what has been the general feedback from the community? And are you facing any barriers, or is the team facing any barriers in terms of engaging with the community?
A couple of things important there. So first of all, the community was very welcoming, and they believe that policing should have a high level of community engagement. They also talked to us about community wellness. It's not only about reducing crime, but it's also about reducing disorder and building community wellness. We know there's challenges. We know that there's mental illness. We know that there is drug addiction. And we're part of that community to help in that result in moving things forward. And we want to be part of working with the city, working with the province, in some cases even working with the federal government in order to make things better in the community.
Thank you. Ms. Cloak, or Director Cloak, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, I just wanted to congratulate you. I've had a chance to speak with many of the officers that are involved in the community engagement, and overwhelmingly the feedback from the community has been extremely positive, and you're doing such a great job with that. So thank you for the support of the residents, and thank you for the support of the officers. It's been really positive, and it's got a lot of energy behind it. So thanks very much, Chief.
I appreciate that, and I'll certainly pass it on to the members. And yes, they work very hard and give a lot of themselves to that community.
Hey, anyone else? Ms. Broussard?
Thanks, Madam Chair. And I echo Director Cloak's comments. I've been out with my kids bumping into SPS members, and they've been fantastic with my boys. Just on the chart that you have up right now on community engagement, and I take it that Guildford Fleetwood is lumped together, but being different community centers because of, is it because of the RCMP districts that Fleetwood and Guildford are together, or that's one question. Yeah. And we separate to see how many, not for today, but if we could get that to the board, how many year-to-date community engagements in Guildford and how many in Fleetwood? Thanks.
Yes, essentially it's broken down by district, and you were quite correct. And we can certainly get those numbers for you, and that'll provide a little bit more clarity on what we're doing here. Yeah, there's a lot more documentation that went into this graph, and in the interest of time, we kept it very basic here, but we'll certainly circle back and provide more information next time.
Ms. Modell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, I just want to thank you for that presentation. From a community standpoint and the businesses that I represent in my professional life, I know that we as the Downtown Surrey Business Improvement Association has had incredible feedback from our businesses of the engagement of the SPS officers, and I just want to sincerely thank you for that. And also, if you could pass along the businesses' thanks in the downtown core to the officers who are on the front line and policing the situation with the businesses in our area. Thank you.
Yes, you're most welcome. I'll certainly pass that on, and our people get a lot out of engaging the community, so thank you. Madam Chair, I can move on to the last item, number 4. It's just I just have a quick comment pertaining to the Chief's update. I can say that our members are working very well with the RCMP on the front line, and every day I see great investigations. I see every week some life-saving that goes on there, and they're working together as a team, and I think that brings a lot of comfort to the citizens of Surrey that as we go through these times, there still is that police safety blanket throughout Surrey, and we move ahead and deal with each call in a very professional and very high level from an investigation, and I'll say even follow-up and keeping the complainants or witnesses up to date on what is happening with their files. So I'll conclude there, and if there's any questions pertaining to my verbal update number 4, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much for those comments, Chief Lipinski. I think it's an important comment to the public to know that public safety is the ultimate here, and that our police are working hard for all the citizens of this city, and that's critically important to everyone. So thank you for those comments.
Welcome.
Moving on, directors to the Finance Committee. Director Johal, is that you? Or?
Yes, that would
sorry, Director Medell?
I believe that would be myself after Joel. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just before you begin, Director Johal, I just want to say I've had the opportunity of chairing the Finance Committee for the last almost 2 years. And now that Director Johal is fully entrenched into the system and understands everything, I have gracefully passed the torch to him, and he will be doing the uptake on finance. So sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to say that for the record, and also for the public who and you, Madam Mayor, who are listening and taking this in, that is what has been done. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Modell, and I appreciate all of the learning we did over this time, and I'm slowly learning, but coming up to speed gradually. So I'd like to start with slide number 1, which is our financial update to October 31st. The Finance Committee is presenting an update on year-to-date expenditures as of October 31st for both SPS operations as well as the one-time policing transition project. Going to slide number 2. Can we turn back to slide 2, please? Yeah, thank you. For background information, this slide presents Surrey's 2022 to 2026 financial plan for policing. So essentially, this is the 5-year plan, the city's 5-year plan. The city's total policing budget for 2022 is $194.8 million, of which $72.5 million was allocated to SPS. We could turn to the next slide. Okay, so as of October 31st, year-to-date expenditures were $52.2 million compared to the $61.5 million available in the year-to-date budget. Expenditures include $13.8 million for Lower Mainland integrated teams, $93,000 for board remunerations, $34.9 million for salaries and benefits, $1.7 million in capital expenditures, and $1.8 million for other expenses, such as supplies, materials, Justice Institute training costs for new recruits, telecommunications, and outsourced services. We turn to the next slide. I think, can you go back one? Okay, so I guess it's not on the slide, but if I could just summarize here, at the end of October, we had a total of 355 active employees, 296 sworn members, and 59 civilians. 326 employees were costed to SPS operations. 29 employees were assigned to temporary roles required for the police transition. Therefore, their salaries and benefits were allocated to the transition project fund. Turn to the next slide. Perfect. In addition to the SPS annual operating budget, a total of $63.7 million is dedicated for the one-time transition to the SPS. Presented here as background information. The 2022 budget allocation for the transition project is $5.4 million. The total available funds in 2022 is $33.5 million, which includes $28.1 million unspent from the previous year, 2021, plus the $5.4 million for this year. You can turn to the next slide. As of October 31st, $10.9 million was spent out of the $33.5 million available, with $22.7 million remaining for use. Our financial forecast, updated in September, projects $15.7 million will be carried forward to the next year. Areas of significant expenditures to date include $5.1 million for IT, which includes both capital costs for hardware and other technology and related assets and operating costs. $2.9 million for recruitment, assessments, training, and temporary personnel. And lastly, $2.2 million for firearms, personal issue kits, uniforms, and other specialty equipment. And if we turn to the last slide, the Finance Committee recommends receiving this report for information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Director Johal. Anybody have any questions? Can I get a motion to accept the report, please? Thank you, Director Broussard. Second, Director Gill. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. The next are issues. I will pass it over to Ms. Granum to comment on the information before us that's in the agenda under E1, 2, and 3.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If anybody has any questions, the first is a letter of thanks for some of our members who engage with some youth at Ellendale Elementary. The second is a save the date with more information to come with respect to the BCAPB AGM and conference. And as you know, Director Cloak represents SPB on the executive for that. And the third is a letter from ADM Rideout with respect to the board training that the province has put a lot of time and effort into with Watson Advisors. And I can say I've done a bit of work with Watson Advisors on that training, and I think it's going to be exceptional for civilian oversight and board governance. So there was a letter that came to you in terms of registering for, I believe it was the 100 level course. So if you haven't done so, or if you require assistance, please let me know.
Thank you very much. And now under correspondence, there's no correspondence. G, new business. There is no new business unless someone has some they'd like to mention. Okay, nothing under new business. The next meeting of the police board will be called, probably won't be in December, however. And then a motion to hold the meeting in closed. Can I have a motion, please, to that effect? Thank you, Ms. Broussard. Second, Ms. Gill. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. And then a motion to adjourn. Thank you. We are now adjourned.